After you were locked up for many years, how far would you go to exact your revenge? Which is a dish best served cold. We're here today at Brennan Theaters watching Old Boy. This movie is one of those demented, morbid curiosity type movies where it's just like, damn. It's really hard to give an adept review on it because you don't want to give nothing away because it's one of these kinds of movies where you gotta be real picky and choosy. It just kind of just jumps into it, just lays it out, here's what's going on, and you're going for this ride and you're just like, wow, that's some up shit. Joe Dissett, played by Josh Brolin, apparently he's done some horrible thing, we have no idea what it is, and he gets put into confinement for a long time. Just done, secret prison. And then you're just kind of watching his slow descent into madness. Then all of a sudden he's like, you know what, I'm getting out, and then he's out. But then it's like, what do you do now that you're out? You've literally had a chunk of your life taken away, what are you gonna do? He kind of goes through some motions and try and find his old friends, and it just goes on some crazy, you're like, oh my God, like this movie is nuts. It is interesting, it is graphic, there are some graphic scenes, there are some graphic fight scenes. That to me was like the best thing of the movie for me, is one man taking down guys like crazy, and you're like, not bad. And it's not one of those choppy fight scenes either. It's a smooth, pretty smooth camera thing. So it's, you know, not a Michael Bay, Bourne Ultimatum. You're seeing what's going on, and I appreciate that. I feel fight scenes get cheap these days when they go to throw a punch and we have to shake the camera. Don't know what that's all about. If you're squeamish, go see it anyway. See how well you can hold the You know, I wouldn't say it's original, but it is different. It's a revenge film. I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. The reason for that is there are some things in the movie that I'm just kind of like, yeah, I call on that, just period. I don't care what you're trying to achieve, just no way that's gonna work. Take your mom to see it. That should be fun, don't you think? Mom! I tried to get my mom to come, she said no. Let's talk about the content of this film.
I'm a big fan of the Japanese version of the film, which is the original version of the film, which spawned a trilogy all about vengeance, but I just don't feel it did it justice. So I was disappointed in the content of this film, but I was disappointed in the content of this film based off of someone that knew the original. I feel that the original was more poignant and it was more powerful. There was a lot of disappointment in this film for me.
The grotesque level of this movie was too high for me to enjoy it. I will say that it was very well done in the whole aspect of, I felt it compared to a game of blackjack for me, is that you have all these cards and you're turning them over and you're waiting for it to get to 21 and be like, hey, 21, done. That's how I felt. It was a good planned out movie, but just the brutality and the grotesque level was too high.
I thought the content was pretty appropriate for the overall feel of what they were going for. I think they kind of wanted you to have that kind of jump out of your seat and have that kind of darkness to the film. So,
How do you feel about the like the fight scenes, the graphic stuff?
Oh, they were good. I think that they were more fight scenes than they were supposed to be emotional investments, like they were in the Japanese version, in my opinion. But they were good action scenes. They were well done. Like you said before, they were all one shot. You didn't have to worry about the choppy cameras and all of that. It was good. It was brutal, but it didn't have the same intensity that I think the first one did, that the original movie did, where the fight scenes had more of a anger-filled reason, I think. But special effects are good.
The fight scene was really well done. Like you said, there was no running camera. That's what I like to call it when it shakes all the time. There was no running camera. It was very seamless. It was a very one shot. It was fun. It was a fun fight scene.
I love the fight scenes. I thought that they were really well done, choreographed, and I thought that the whole getting into Josh Brolin's character and the whole revenge feel to it, I thought those fight scenes were actually really good and really well constructed for the character.
What about the character development? I mean, obviously we're following one character with some sub-ones, but the development of the main guy.
I think they did a good job. I think Josh Brolin did a good job in what he was given. I don't believe that you were as invested in the character in this one as you were in the original one, but I do believe that aspect of this movie was well constructed. What they wanted to accomplish, what it seemed they wanted to accomplish with that character, they did. You grow with the character, which is important.
I felt when he did have a growth period that was kind of interesting to see, because when it was a very interesting growth period, but at the same time it was like, well, you know, what's going to happen with this growth period? What's going to go on with it? And it was just one of those weird types of, well, does he have to grow, or does he want to grow, or what is the deal with this?
I know what they were going for. I felt like you wanted to be led on this path of growth with the character, but I think they kind of missed the mark a little bit. I just kind of feel like they maybe it would be better as a book. Maybe it's not. They don't have long enough to kind of get you into the role of the character, but I just felt like something was missing. You didn't kind of connect with the character like I think they really wanted you to.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what do you give this?
I will preface this by saying I'm giving it this score based off of someone that really adored the original. I give it a 5 out of 10. And the only reason it's as high as that is because the action was pretty cool. There were too many points in the movie where I would stop and I would break immersion and I would go, why did they choose to do that? The original had such a better way of doing it. I don't know why they would bother changing it.
I would have to give it a 4. 4 is only for that one fight scene.
I would give it about a 7. I enjoyed the movie. I'm glad I saw it. I think they could have done better. I really wish they would have done a little bit better. So I'll give it a solid 7.
Go on ahead and subscribe, like, favorite, share this, comment. I'm curious, what do you think is the best torture movie out there? There's a lot of them. If you need some help, you can go to watchmojo.com. They'll give you some ideas. Like to know. Hopefully everybody had a great Thanksgiving. We know we all did. Turkey Day. Loaded with tryptophan. Fun fact for you. And next week, really nothing coming out, so we're probably going to do Homefront with Jason Statham, James Franco. That looks pretty good. And as always, we're letting you know before you go at Brendan Theaters. If you were locked up in Justice-like, that sounds stupid.
Yeah, it does.
God's Among Us. She didn't even see your face. She's like, no, I don't want to watch a torture movie. I'm like, come on. You watch Saw. Let's go see this. I'm getting evil looks right now from people. It's like,